Wake up. It's a late night edition of the AZ Wildcats podcast. Arizona's at the top of the Big 12. Don't go anywhere. We have all the breakdown here in 30 seconds.
Kevin, something about this music when after a W just hits different, doesn't it?
It hits so different, Damon, man. You got no idea. The dub tonight, so sweet. We stayed up past our bedtime for this dub, Damon.
Sweet indeed, past our bedtime indeed. This is the AZ Wildcats podcast. I am your host, Damon Fairall. That's my boy, Kevin. He is hitting buttons. He is talking. He's doing it all. And, of course, the Arizona Wildcats beat the Baylor Bears tonight, 81-70, taking sole possession of first place in the Big 12 Conference.
Let's go!
The only 5-0 team in the Big 12 Conference as things currently stand. And, yeah, I mean, tonight, Kevin, tale of two halves, right?
1,000%.
Number one thing, Arizona fans are going to want to be talking about. You put it on them in the first half and you really, make Wildcat fans feel super comfortable. You're up 42-19 at halftime. Like hard to feel better than that, especially against a ranked opponent like Baylor. And then second half, much of the same that we've seen from this team. Second half struggles, not having the ability to play a 40-minute complete basketball game. And we're going to get into all of that, Kevin, of course, as well as, Henri Veesaar's big performance, Caleb Love and his inability to, play a consistent basketball and positive basketball. But I think I'd be remiss if I didn't start it off with this, Kevin. Didn't you say Norchad Omier was going to be the best player that we were going to play the rest of the schedule?
I did, and boy, was he not good tonight. Norchad Omier, literally 2 points on just 1 for 2 shooting, 1 free throw on 11 minutes. That was mostly because Mr. Omier got into some really, really bad foul trouble tonight. We're talking 2 personal fouls, I think, in the first 2 minutes of the game. Sat him down early. Second half, more of the same. I was wrong. Hand up. I was wrong on that one. But maybe I was right, because I did say that Norchad Omier would be the best player Arizona faced, and maybe Arizona just keyed in so hard, locked him up. Because I also said that OG Onwuna would be the X factor tonight for Baylor. I said if OG Onwuna was able to impose his will on Veesaar, which Veesaar, we're going to talk about him later. We're going to talk about Henri Veesaar later, don't worry. But OG Onwuna was not able to impose his will. So, yes, I was wrong about Norchad Omier, but I was right about OG Onwuna, and I was right about this boom or bust Baylor offense. The boom or bust Baylor offense was awful, gross for the first half of this game, Damon.
Yes, of course. And, of course, the Wildcats play Baylor on February 17th at Baylor in Waco later this season. So, Norchad Omier is going to be able to get his ability to kind of, get payback for this horrific performance that he had tonight. But yeah, I mean, it bears noting, like, Arizona really, really stifled, the best player on the other team, right? Norchad Omier was a -15 tonight, only 9 points for him. Like you said, he really, really struggled with foul trouble, but he also had 4 turnovers as well. Just not a good night all the way around for a guy who figured to be Baylor's best player. And a matchup nightmare for this team, right? Like, that was what we were thinking, right? Like, the reason Norchad Omier was such why you had him as the toughest matchup for this team is because who was supposed to guard him on this team?
Yes.
And Arizona did a fantastic job of getting him in foul trouble early and just kind of stifling any ability that Baylor had to get him, going early and get him into a groove in this game. So, yeah, I mean, you absolutely love to see it. Taking their best player out of the game plan is always going to be a success for this team.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it while we were watching the game here, Damon. the inability of Baylor to get the ball to their bigs down low with any sort of ease was really, and it was in part due to Arizona's defense, right? But of course, Baylor's point guards were not able to get the bigs the ball in the spot where they could go to work consistently, and it made it really hard for that offense that doesn't have a lot of consistent shooters or a bunch of athletes. I mean, VJ Edgecombe is enough athlete for multiple people, right?
Yeah, certainly.
But I mean, Baylor's offense, let me put it like this: if Baylor's top dogs aren't eating, Baylor's offense is gonna look like it did in the first half. They're gonna put up 19 points, right? But VJ Edgecombe, even like you said, that Arizona was able to hold Baylor's best player to a subpar game. Arizona was able to hold Baylor's best players to subpar games. Nunn 3 for 9, Roach 5 for 9 overall, but just 1 for 4 in the first half.
Yeah.
Edgecombe 0 for 4 in the first half, but I believe he shot 6 for 13 overall. And we already spoke ad nauseum about Omier's issues in this game. So yeah, credit to Arizona's defense. But this Baylor offense definitely has some problems. And we haven't brought up the fact that they lacked all depth in this game. They played, how many players here, Damon? They played 6 guys tonight. Baylor was spread thin, and the Omier foul trouble did not help. They looked gassed for a good portion of this game. But they definitely got their second win in that second half, let me tell you what.
Yeah, they played 7 guys tonight. One guy, Jason Asamoah, only playing 6 minutes. So
he wanted to smoke with Tobe Awaka, and let me tell you,
you don't want that smoke.
My brother, you do not have the facilities for that, big man. You can't do that. You can't do that. Yeah, he wanted to smoke with Tobe, and we were talking about that here, watching like, oh, Tobe had some words for him. Like Tobe let him know, like, no, brother, you don't come into McHale and try to pick a fight with Tobe Awaka.
You absolutely do not.
You don't Awaka out of that one with all your faculties intact. You know what I
Boo.
mean?
That was bad. I want to shout out everybody in the chat right now hanging out with us on a late night. We got Daniel asking, are we going to be ranked after this one? Daniel, if the rankings came out midweek, I would say absolutely. We do play Texas Tech on Saturday. I think that's going to be the deciding factor there. If the Wildcats can take down the Red Raiders on Saturday, I don't see any world where this team is not ranked, especially not when you're talking about, the best basketball conference on paper and being in sole possession of that, 5-6 games through the season.
Well, you spoke to being in the best basketball conference, let's just call it on the planet,
Mm-hmm.
best college basketball conference on the planet, Damon. Do you think there's an argument that Arizona could still be ranked even with a close loss to Texas Tech if that was to happen?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think in a true road environment, Texas Tech just beat Kansas State tonight. So not that Kansas State is like some juggernaut team, but it is a good win. Any win on the road, especially in the Big 12, is a good win. So I don't think that would necessarily be completely detrimental to this team's ability to get ranked. But there's no finishing in, I think they were about 29th. I think they were the fourth team in others receiving votes in this past AP poll. I expect if they do, in fact, beat Texas Tech, there's no chance that they're not in the AP top 25 next week. The basketball and football guy says Damon looks like he's about to fall asleep. Brother, we had a meeting at 10 a.m. this morning here at PHNX HQ.
Just pull back the curtain.
Let's look at the current time. It is 11:41. You do the math. It's been a long day, but Kevin and I are here and we are ready and we are hyped up and revved up and ready to go for this Wildcat team because they can't lose while we're doing this podcast, Kevin. They have not lost one game since we started doing this podcast. Coincidence? I'm going to keep saying it. Coincidence?
I just banged on some wood.
I think not.
Banged on some wood.
I think not. I got my boy Alec in here. Henri Veesaar is why I wake up in the morning.
Same. Honestly,
so true.
Same. Tommy Lloyd just gets me through the week, and then Henri Veesaar, my tough days, gets me over that hurdle,
Milo's Fishing Extravaganza says Texas Tech was in a dogfight with Iowa State. Do you want to scroll up and just hit up a couple more people? That were,
of course.
Our guy Kyle in the chat, of course.
He didn't really want to leave that comment either.
No.
Kyle did not want to hop in the U of A chat and say, congrats, gentlemen. Respect.
But he's a sweet man, and he will anyways.
And he's a man of logic. He knows
humility.
That was a good win.
Kyle is a man of humility.
He really is. He really is.
Yeah. And who else is a man of humility is Tommy Lloyd, Kevin. And we need to talk more about Tommy Lloyd and just the job that he's done with this team, I think, up to this point in the season. And there's some negatives with it too, right? Like I think based off of his post-game comments of the last game against UCF, he clearly was not happy with this team, right? He was saying like you have to fight to be an Arizona player if you want minutes on this team. Called their play dumb. Like it was he was very, very abrasive in his post-game comments. I think that showed in their first half tonight, right?
1,000%.
They come out in the first half like it's like this is the Final Four. This is the national championship on the line. And every defensive possession, even when they were up 20 points, they're locking in like this is for the game right now. And you love to see that as an Arizona fan. Then you come out in the second half, and it's the exact same thing that Tommy has been, getting mad at all season long, which is this team just falls into a shell. Like they are a completely different basketball team when they're protecting a lead versus when they're building a lead. And why do you think that is?
I don't know exactly why that is, Damon, to be completely honest with you.
If you did, you'd be making the big bucks.
Yeah,
Kevin.
if I did, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. But, my thing with the Tommy Lloyd outburst is that to an extent, Tommy Lloyd can, like I said it on the last post game, Tommy Lloyd can only do but so much before the players have to just do what he's telling them to do.
Yeah.
And I think, yes, we give a lot of credit to Tommy Lloyd. I'll give credit to him later in this show when, we give a tip of the hat, But it's also Tommy, doing his job as the head coach. But I think what his frustration that bubbled over was, I'm doing my job as the coach and the players aren't playing correctly. How do I can't play for them, so I'm going to speak to them through the media right now, something I've never done since I've been in Arizona, because I'm at my wit's end and I don't know what to do with you know what I mean? And so, yeah, I think that Tommy Lloyd does deserve credit for making adjustments and sticking with certain players through their ups and downs this year. But ultimately, whatever turnaround Arizona has had and will continue to build off of is on the players. And that's not a discredit against Tommy Lloyd, but I think it's just a state of the problems that Arizona was facing were not rooted in Tommy Lloyd issues. It was player issues. And I'm not talking like locker room issues. I'm just talking on the court, players making incorrect decisions in accordance with the game plan that Tommy Lloyd wants to run, right?
Yeah, I think this team is, no doubt about it. Like, this team is not a team that, we're worried about the personalities of this team. Even a guy like Caleb Love, who's in his 5th year in college, obviously has a lot of pedigree and, I'm sure wants his shots, right? Like, that's something, he didn't come back to Arizona to take, 10 shots a game.
No.
But he's not a guy who's also, going to hurt the team, just to get his shots up. Like, he wants to win first and foremost. Tommy wouldn't bring him back if that was not the mentality that he had. But you just can't have what you've been getting from Caleb Love recently.
No.
He gives you 8 points, 3 of 10 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 3 assists, 2 turnovers.
Had a block and 2 steals though, so he's at least engaged defensively.
He is for the most part, except on that 3-pointer that I mentioned to you, where Jeremy Roach is streaking naked down the other side of the court, waiting for a cherry pick pass for him to get a free bucket. And
for those that don't remember, it was after Caleb Love got his ankles broken by Nunn. Bang 3 for Baylor. Caleb Love comes down 3 short off the front of the rim, and then Roach says, "Oh, I'll take that cherry pick," like Damon said at the other end. And yeah, I mean,
yeah, it
looked bad.
It was a bad sequence for Caleb Love. I mean, he missed that 3-pointer as well, and just couldn't hit any threes tonight. Essentially, it's becoming concerning because the ceiling of this team, as we've talked about many times on this show before, Kevin, is entirely reliant on how good Caleb Love is going to play late in the season, right?
Yes.
And while it's encouraging that Arizona is stacking these wins while he's playing poorly, because you don't expect him to be in this funk all season long, like this is not a player that is helping this team win right now, and it's from a guy that I'm not to pocket watch Kevin, but he's making the most money on this team for a reason. It's you need him to be good. You brought back Caleb Love to be your primary scorer, and while it's awesome that you're getting 13 from Jaden Bradley, 19 from Henri Veesaar, 11 from KJ Lewis, that's not, I don't think, entirely sustainable. Because there's going to be a game where Caleb Love is absolutely needed, and man, I hope he shows up for that one.
Yeah, because, and Milo's fishing extravaganza hops in the chat and says, it's a good team when you don't need Caleb Love to score double digits compared to last year, I feel
Definitely.
like. And I totally agree with this chatter because we've been saying that all year. When Caleb Love has a bad game but Arizona wins, that's ultimately a bigger dub for Arizona. But the problem becomes when you have multiple of these games where Caleb Love doesn't show up but Arizona still wins. How long can we keep coming back to the silver lining of, Arizona won without him? Because if this is gonna happen in March and late March and whatnot, that's a problem, and it shifts what Arizona can do in the tournament if Caleb Love is inconsistent or if he is not producing on offense.
Yeah, just not a good game out of Caleb Love tonight. But there are some positives to take away, and we'll get into more of those positives as well as the numbers and who the player of the game is. But first, I want to talk about some of our fine partners on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
Well, Damon, one thing that I would love to talk about with you today is our friends over at Neutral. Now, unfortunately, I did not pop open any Neutrals tonight for this game. Maybe I should have. Because it
kept you awake, man.
Yeah, it would have really kept me awake because Neutrals are real good. And I like to keep it tasty when I'm in Tucson. You know what I'm saying? And this is a public service announcement because Neutral Hard Vodka Seltzer has arrived. And not only has it arrived, it's really, really good, y'all. It's not none of this artificial fake seltzer stuff. It's real ingredients. Real vodka, real juice, real seltzer, y'all. They have a variety of flavors including pineapple, watermelon, black cherry, orange, and more. And like I said, it's just so good that you're never going to want to go back to other, inferior seltzers.
Nasty malt seltzers.
Neutral literally is real ingredients, quality ingredients, and a nice, fresh, refreshing vodka seltzer that you will never forget. Neutral, keep it tasty, Tucson. Enjoy responsibly. 2024 Anheuser-Busch Neutral, flavored vodka and carbonation. Shout out to St. Louis, Missouri.
You're from St. Louis?
Yep, home of Anheuser-Busch. Home of the hot dog. Home of the ice cream cone.
You learn something new every single day on this podcast, such as Kevin's from St. Louis. Had no clue. Something that you need to have a clue about is Branded Bills, because it's one of our favorite partners here at PHNX. I got my Branded Bills cap on. Kevin just put his on. How could you? I mean, look at the variety there, Kevin.
Look at the swag.
You got the black hat on. I got the white cactus hat, cactus logo hat. Yeah, that goes hard. That goes super hard. I
heard hats over headphones was the new look.
It is. 2025. Get with it. I got a handful of Branded Bills hats in my office there. Like to switch them out, but really, Kevin, like seriously, the most comfortable hat I own.
Yeah, no, it genuinely is, Damon. This hat is soft, it's stretchable, and it's a beautifully comfortable hat. What the favorite hat brand I've ever owned is Branded Bills.
Absolutely, they got all the logos, all the U of A logos, and you know the cool thing about Branded Bills, they actually had their team in our studio this week, Kevin, and they were coming up to me and Kevin and saying, what do you guys as Wildcat fans think that we need to add to our Arizona collection? And we told them, get us an old Wilbur logo, get us this, get us that. And they were like, okay, all right, sounds good. Taking what we were telling them. Gotta love that. Gotta love Branded Bills. Gotta love this promo code PHNX to get 20% off your first order. That's at brandedbills.com. 20% off your first order using the promo code PHNX. All right, Kevin, let's get into some of these numbers. Let's look at the numbers for this game. Arizona obviously beats Baylor 81-70, as we mentioned before. And here are some of these stats are going to be funny, right? Because if we took the halftime graphic that you made and looked at it and compared to this one,
it'd be so different.
How different would it look, right? Because we look at this field goal percentage, it's only a 6% difference, 54-48 in favor of Arizona. The three-point percentage, obviously pretty big discrepancy, 50-30% in favor of Arizona. Same with the assist battle, 21-11. Turnovers really close, 10-13, and then steals and blocks, 13-10. Very similar on the other end. But yeah, I mean, I think that goes to show just how close this game got, right? Because in the second half, Baylor won the second half pretty handily. Like it wasn't.
I mean, 51, Damon. Letting another team walk into your arena and put up 51 in a second half after a half where you only allowed them to put up a measly 19, dare I say, is unacceptable.
It absolutely is.
That's not winning basketball, Damon. I mean, if you look at the first half numbers, I'll start here. Arizona had no field goals in the last 3 minutes. how many post games have I come on here and told all of you at home, oh, Arizona in the last 5 minutes, 2 points. Arizona in the last 3 minutes, 1 field goal. Like, way too many times.
Another one tonight, Kevin.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Another one, mark it down now. But 11% from Baylor in the first half from 3 and 7 turnovers. Damon, they shot 25% from the field. Like, I guess water always finds a level, but this is drastic. Like, that is, like, and we do have a super chat here that kind of touches on all of this from the great Trevor Begay, who wants to say, need to work on not letting teams come back on us in these games.
Thank you so much, Trevor.
Yes, we appreciate you, Trevor. We love you, Trevor. And this chatter is completely correct because you said it on the last post game. You got to keep your foot on their neck. You need to keep the foot on the gas. Keep your foot wherever you need to keep your foot to keep beating these teams.
That's what teams with championship aspirations do, right? Like, that's like, I think I hate to equate to like other sports and stuff, but that's what serious NFL organizations do. That they when the second half of the season comes along, like they heat up, right? And they start putting it on teams. And you can really tell who's a true contender and who's fake on that end of the season. Arizona is like right now, like I'm thrilled to be 5-0 in conference. It hasn't exactly been the gauntlet of the Big 12 thus far. Baylor's a good team, but yeah, I mean you can't play games like that against the Iowa States of the world and expect to win those games. You got to play complete basketball. And 51 points, as you mentioned, in a half is disgusting out of this team, especially disgusting out of a team that currently in KenPom sits at 23rd. Like, it's like you're one of the better defensive teams in the entire country, and you just let up completely on the defensive end in the second half because I don't know, you thought you had that game won. But to your point earlier on, as far as trends go, Arizona no field goals in the final 2:57 of this game. Final 3 minutes, you don't get another field goal. I mean, we talked about this exact same thing, Kevin, against UCF. It's what made Tommy so mad. I feel like Caleb's taking bad shots, especially in particular when you get in these droughts where he just thinks like, oh, I got to be the man, I got to be the dude, and you know what I mean? And then it's just like, and then he's taking just like willy-nilly bad shots, and it's leading to fast breaks on the other end for Baylor. So
Damon, I think like what we're kind of identifying here, and we're kind of talking around it without kind of being like, oh, that's the word for it, is what Corey Williams brought up on, like, I think our first or second ever episode of McHale Madness. We put together a vision board for Arizona.
Tomorrow night, right?
Yes, tomorrow night.
McHale Madness tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Be there.
Check it out. But we put together a vision board on McHale Madness of everything Arizona would need to do to eventually cut down the nets again, right? And one of the things that I think Arizona is really lacking, Damon, that we're kind of talking about here is the lack of a bread and butter offense, right?
Yeah.
What do all the national title teams always have? They have a go-to offense when things get tough, right? They have an offense that they know they can go to, they know they can hammer, and they know that it will work more times than it fails. I don't see that out of Arizona because it's not a Jaden Bradley drive, right? With all due respect to Jaden Bradley, he's elite at driving to the hoop, but that's not an entire offense. It's not Caleb Love shooting. It's not Veesaar's post moves. I love Veesaar, but he's not an entire offense.
I was about to say, is it Henri Veesaar?
It could be. It could end up being Henri Veesaar.
I don't think it is or will be, but it's fun. Like, it's fun to make that argument.
It's just like Arizona doesn't have a go-to offense that when things get tough in like a second half, when a Big 12 team is trying to slow you down and trying to claw back into it, that Arizona can go to and find success. They just don't have that. And I think that once Arizona figures that out, watch out, because they're already undefeated in the Big 12. They already are first overall in the Big 12. And there are still big problems that are plaguing the team. Yeah. So I say Big 12, watch out.
I think that what this offense needs to be, if we want to see the final evolution of this team, is these guards getting downhill.
Yes.
That's what I envision.
With consistency.
Yeah, getting downhill, beating their man off the dribble, and then finding if they're going to play help defense, finding that open guy or, finishing properly.
That's the key, right?
Jaden Bradley,
that's the key.
KJ Lewis, Caleb Love, those three are the three guys I'm thinking of in particular when I say this. And that begs the point that needs to be brought up. KJ Lewis was phenomenal tonight, Kevin.
Oh, underrated passer again.
He was great again, yeah. 7 for 7 from the free throw line for KJ. On top of 7 assists, on top of 4 rebounds, on top of, 11 points. Like, it was a good game out of KJ Lewis again tonight, and he just continues to flourish in this role as off the bench in a way that we didn't see before he made that switch.
7 for 7 from the free throw line too, Damon, to your point, getting contact, drawing fouls. And it really helps when Baylor is a team that is thin. Yeah, go get some fouls. Go force some fouls because they're going to have to sit some guys and make some tough choices like they did tonight. And it's going to put them in a tough position. But I totally agree with what you said about getting downhill, but most importantly, finding the open man. Our guy Milo Chatter said that they just want to see the ball moving again. And that is the key, right? The ball cannot stagnate and result in early or late shot clock heaves from 3. And yeah, Damon, I think the ball movement and when things get slow is extra crucial to making sure that the offense runs smoothly.
Yeah, I mean, the offense in the first half was, the ball was moving around, right?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Second half, just completely different story.
In the first half, not to cut you off, but to add, in the first half, I believe 3 Arizona players had more assists than all of Baylor as a team total.
ADO was competing with Baylor by himself in terms of points.
At one point, 9 points for ADO on 3 for 3, and it was 9 points for Baylor at the time on 3 for 12 shooting. Hilarious stat. Just an hilarious stat.
Yep. Another good performance out of Delhi tonight. And I think we're going to try to make that switch, Kevin, because I guess Saul Bookman, who's on the McHale Madness show and a part of our family here at ALLCITY, he asked Tommy a question in the last post-game press conference about ADO. And Tommy apparently was like, who in the hell are you talking about? And that's because I guess the team calls him Delhi. So petition to call him Delhi now, Kevin, and also the greatest Delhi Australian basketball player that's ever lived.
He can get there.
Not the answer I wanted to hear. I'll tell you what, Kevin.
I'm too grounded for that, David.
Matthew Dellavedova had a lot of different things to his game that obviously our Delhi does not have. But that Delhi could never shoot like our Delhi could tonight, or just in general. That Delhi did not have a good jumper, and
that Delhi
this
was
Delhi
blue collar as
is
it gets.
wet.
Yes,
sopping wet.
I'll let that ruminate. for
let that one sit. Yeah.
I'll let that one breathe. But yeah, Damon, I think we've talked about it before on these post games, but the more games that I come away impressed with Anthony Dell'Orso, the better.
Yep.
Because I'll keep every time I'm right, I tell y'all. Every time I'm wrong, I'll tell y'all. I was very wrong, and I'll keep saying it on Anthony Dell'Orso. I said he couldn't play in the conference. Said he wasn't big enough. Said he wasn't skilled enough, and I'm not saying any of that anymore. Anthony Dell'Orso belongs in this conference, and he has been one of the X factors for Arizona. I'm not going to say he's been the X factor, but he's been one of the unsung heroes for sure of this little 7-game win streak now, Damon, that Arizona has amassed.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at his game log here, Kevin. Some of his better games on the season against Old Dominion, Davidson, Southern Utah.
Start.
It started off right where we were kind of in a place where we were thinking to ourselves, is this a guy who belonged at Campbell?
Yeah.
He came over and transferred from Campbell, and oftentimes there's a ceiling on those players, right? And there's a reason that they're playing at schools like that.
Trey Townsend.
But in this case, he's really turned it on as Big 12 play has started, right? Like you've seen the best of Delhi against the West Virginias, the UCFs, and the Baylors of the world. And that's as encouraging as it gets because you don't need him to be someone that's going to put the ball on the floor or someone that's going to lock up, VJ Edgecombe one-on-one, which, by the way, he did run with VJ Edgecombe on a fast break. It was just the two of them sprinting down the court. And then you knew VJ was going to go up for a dunk. And I was like, whoa there, Delhi. Why don't we get out of the way? Because that is not going to end pretty for you. Maybe give him about 5 yards of space and just let him get that dunk off.
Mm-hmm.
But all you need him to do is hit his shots when he gets them, because
and he does.
He's going to get open shots, and he finds a way to get open, and just ball movement and hitting open threes. And that's what I need out of Delly. And if he continues to do that, that's another element to this team that just, opens up everything.
Yeah. And I think I'll go as far to say that a productive Anthony Dell'Orso is essential to Arizona, especially if Caleb Love's going to be
because you don't have any.
If Caleb Love's going to be here or lower, like in the middle or lower of what Caleb Love can be, having Anthony Dell'Orso contribute like 2 or 3 threes a game is beyond crucial, because Arizona has no shooters like outside of Anthony Dell'Orso
And Caleb Love on paper, but like you mentioned,
we've talked about that. Yeah,
Caleb Love this season is shooting 31.9% from 3.
Like I think I've called him a shooter to you before, and you've said, well, is Caleb Love really a shooter, or is he just streaky? And I think that, there's a fair conversation to have there about
I think
him.
He's a shooter.
I think he definitely shoots the ball a lot.
Certainly.
No, I love Caleb Love, right? And I love his game, but my point, shout out CBC. I didn't go there, but he did. My point with him is that he will have a night where he probably goes 5 for 6 from 3.
Yeah.
Or 4.
He did not that long ago. What game was that?
It was I think 2 games ago. Against maybe TCU. Did he ball out? Was that TCU? But then he goes 1 for 6 tonight.
Yeah, TCU.
And it just looks off. Like the offense specifically looks really bad. Like it looks like he's just not comfortable with the ball.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's really weird.
He looks like a different player for sure.
It's really strange. But I don't think that my point here is that Arizona needs Anthony Dell'Orso to be a shooter, because they don't have heat check Caleb Love right now, and they don't have any other shooters outside of those 2 players with consistency. Henri Veesaar, though, 100% from 3 tonight, Damon. Let's talk about it. He is the offense.
He is.
But yeah, no, I think Anthony Dell'Orso has been huge and will continue to be huge for Arizona.
Bank was open tonight for Henry. But yeah, there's no question about that. Like, this team doesn't have spacers really outside of Delly. That's the one guy that they do have from a spacing perspective, where that's like their designated role. And you need guys like that on your to be a good basketball team in the year of our Lord 2025.
To run an efficient offense, you have to.
Yeah, 100%.
Look at Baylor tonight. Couldn't get it inside. I'm serious. They couldn't get it inside, and then they couldn't shoot when they had it outside. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, Damon, they need his shooting. Sorry I cut you off there.
No, they do. They absolutely need his shooting, and they especially like you mentioned, if Caleb Love is going to continue to, on 7 attempts a game, shoot in the low 30%. He's supposed to be the volume 3-point shooting guy. If he's not giving you efficient 3-point shooting, then Delly's got to continue to step up, and he has in a big way. But he did not score in the second half tonight, Kevin, and that is something that bears noting and isn't a good thing. But those 3 first half threes were absolutely crucial for this team. We mentioned his 100% 3-point shooting night, Kevin. Henri Veesaar with a big performance tonight, and we're going to talk about that and more after this break.
Damon, one thing about Henri Veesaar is that he's about as big as a house down in that paint. But if you don't have yourself a Henri Veesaar, just go get a regular house, Damon. And you can do that with our friends over at Carol Royce Real Estate Team. Family owned and operated with the Valley of the Sun for over 3 generations of family members. And Carol and her team have handled sales of over 12,000 homes, Damon. And I don't know if that's a lot of homes or not a lot of homes, but I think that's a lot of homes.
Did you say 12K?
12K, Damon. 12K, my friend. But choosing the right agent for real estate is actually a huge decision, Damon, because they're choosing where you lay your head for the rest of your, well, not maybe for the rest of your life, but if it goes well, for the rest of your life, right?
Long time.
Your forever home. But choosing the right agent is a big decision, so you want to choose Carol Royce and their written guarantees, because it's not just talk with Carol Royce, y'all. You can rest easy knowing that you're not just making the right choice, you're making a guaranteed one you'll love, or Carol will buy your home back. If you don't like your home, Damon, Carol Royce would just say, I got it. Don't worry about it. I'll buy it back right off you. Don't worry about it. They was just little buyers and words. Don't worry about it. But if
What
you're
a deal.
considering buying a home in 2025, the name to trust is Carol Royce, your home sold guaranteed realty. Move up to one of our listings and we'll buy your home for cash. Have questions? Call today or visit Carol online at carolroyceteam.com. That's Carol Royce, ROYSE team.com, Damon.
Kevin, I love when you talk about Carol Royce and then I get to talk about our fine friends at Shady Rays right afterwards, because those are probably the two best, insurance policies on a product that you'll find in the world, right? Like Carol's going to buy your home back. Shady Rays, you don't like your sunglasses, you lose them, you break them, they're going to give you a new pair. Unbelievable deal from our friends at Shady Rays. And it's not some rinky-dink sunglasses. Like, this isn't gas station sunglasses. This is sunglasses that are rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people, Kevin. 300,000, a lot like 12,000, is a big number.
I mean, 301,000 or 300,001 for sure, because I rate them 5 stars.
Okay, so 301,000 or 300,001. Yeah, no, I did the same mistake you did.
I see why they did the round number.
Yeah, absolutely. But the good news about Shady Rays, they're gonna have all the styles to match whatever you desire. Going from, I have the my Shady Rays are like the big like golf style sunglasses. I was like, let me get in on these while I got the opportunity. You'll find a better price on those than you will about the top brand name competitors or whatever.
Who cares about a brand name?
Nah, I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
Quality.
When you got quality polarized sunglasses that are also affordable, Kevin, and have a replacement, lost and broken replacement policy that is going to last you a lifetime. So got to go to Shady Rays. Doesn't get any better than that. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal this season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use code PHNX for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try yourselves the shades, rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Damon. We were talking about branded bills earlier during one of our quick breaks. And I think it's about time that we take our branded bills and give a tip of the hat, Damon. A tip of the hat presented by Branded Bills. Elevate your brand with Branded Bills. You already know that Branded Bills is the tippity top in headwear. Damon, who you
come up with that yourself?
Sure. Who do you give your tip of the hat to, Damon?
My tip of the hat, we were just talking about him, is going to go to Anthony Dell'Orso for those 3 first half threes. I think that those 3 first half threes really buried Baylor. And based off this second half performance tonight, if Arizona wasn't up 21 points at halftime, I'm not sure that they win this basketball, or 23 points at halftime.
That's a good point, actually.
I'm not sure they win this basketball game. I think those 3 threes were massive. It kind of put the nail in the coffin. It made it feel like it was over at halftime. And it clearly wasn't over at halftime, but
no, far from it.
It made it feel like it was. And for that, I tip my cap to you, sir, Deli, my boy.
Well, let me put my new 2025 fashion statement on. Hat over headphones here. I'm gonna give my tip of the hat to Tommy Lloyd for getting out of his comfort zone, I feel like, and really letting his team have it in the previous post-game press conference. We're gonna have Erica Day here join us in the next segment, get us some clips and words from Tommy Lloyd's post-game. But Damon, I gotta give Tommy Lloyd credit because that's not something he does often. We've talked about it before. Tommy Lloyd is not a guy to really get after his players publicly like that. And I think the pushing that he did really gave us the big first half that Arizona saw and realized in the first half of this game.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Tommy Lloyd, he continues to be one of the best coaches in the entire country. Anyone that was seriously mad at Tommy for how the way this season started. I mean, I guess I get being upset. But clearly Tommy is a good enough coach where he's going to be able to figure it out. And with this team,
he's literally one of the best coaches in the country.
Yeah, and I have full trust in Tommy and his ability to get the best out of this team. And frankly, I think it's about the long run, right? With Tommy Lloyd, like it's not he wasn't viewing the Oklahoma and West Virginia losses early in the season when the sky was falling for Arizona fans like it was detrimental or to the season or the end of the season. Like that was just a cog in where this place wants to get to in late in the season, right?
Yes.
And it's helped this team because we've seen improvement from a lot of these big time players. BC here in the chat, my least favorite PHNX fan. I do love you, BC, but he's very loyal. But he comes in and he's a Dodgers fan, a ASU fan.
I give BC credit for literally having the persistence to always be in the chat.
Yeah,
like I respect that. And BC's to my memory, I've never seen BC get super crazy in the chat.
No, BC is pretty
BC's
cordial.
always just in here like, yo,
just
this is
supporting
the
his
team
teams.
I love, and I don't like your team, and that's fine.
And I feel the need to tell you that your teams are bad and mine are good. But not tonight, BC, because your team lost 95-89 to UCF because you let Keyshawn Hall drop a 40 burger on your head in college basketball. That feels bad. I would hate to be that team.
Hashtag feels bad, man.
It does feel bad.
Feels bad, man.
Yeah, I mean, that I'm tipping my hat to Delly. You're tipping your hat to Tommy Lloyd. Tons of people we could have tipped our hat to.
Do you want to give a tip of the hat, an additional tip of the hat? Maybe tip a hat from behind you for Khalil Tate and Terry Francona, and just the star-studded McHale. The students are back from break.
Khalil Tate, by the way, like one of my favorite Arizona athletes of all time, was working for the team when he was on the team. Great dude. Really, really nice guy. Like genuinely like the nicest guy in the football program at the time.
Just salt of the earth type?
Definitely. And like just who reps U of A like Khalil Tate? Have you noticed that?
I have noticed that on Twitter. He really is active. He's very active.
Khalil Tate had all of the, power in the world to be mad about how his tenure at Arizona went based off of the coaching change and how Mazzoni and someone utilized him and really kind of drove his career into the ground. And you know what Khalil Tate does? He stands up and he says, bear down, brother.
Bear down, go
that
Cats.
Guy reps Arizona harder than almost anyone. My guy Kevin in the chat, he says the PHNX Q-Zip is fire. Thank you, Kevin. He is actually one of Khalil Tate's best friends. I don't know if you knew that. No, but Kevin also worked for the U of A football team back in the day, and Khalil used to like recognize when he'd get a haircut, and we used to we would be like, when you guys grabbing a beer later?
You know what that reminds me of, Damon?
Love Khalil Tate.
You know my guy Jason Tatum. You know what that reminds me of? The clip where he's like, with a haircut, I'm probably top
on
five.
my podcast, Jason Tatum
with
talk.
With a haircut, I'm top 5. Top 5 what? Just top 5. Just top 5, Damon. Just top 5.
Yeah. Don't love that. Real quick before we get Erica on, because we are going to talk to her about some post game availability and what Tommy and co had to say. We do have to give out a player of the game, Kevin, which we have not done yet. We kind of glossed over that.
Yeah, that's remiss. We were remiss to not
We are going to give it to, of course, Henri the Hammer Veesaar.
The Snowman.
19 points, 4 stocks, 7 rebounds. Just another performance. We mentioned it going into this game in our preview, Kevin. Like with Henri Veesaar in this game, it was going to be a big litmus test for him and Toby Awaka to see what they could do against quality opponent big man that are like super physical, that play hard like a Baylor team does. And your X factor, Ojianwuna. Did I do that? Ojianwuna. Probably will never get that. But
you just did.
Yeah, Ojianwuna. I don't think the first time I tried is ever going to be a W. But Ojianwuna was completely non-existent tonight.
Yes.
4 fouls for Omier. I mean, drawing a ton of fouls. The big men on our team were tonight. Toby Awaka shot 10 free throws tonight. And yeah, Henri Veesaar, 9 of 11 from the field, battled foul trouble himself. But really, when he was out there, just continues to show improvement game in and game out. 19 minutes, 19 points tonight, Kevin. I don't know, is that good? A point every minute.
Is decent, I think. I think that's how they usually calculate that,
including a 3-pointer.
A point a minute. Yeah.
Including a 3-pointer, which you gotta respect his shot a little bit, even if he banked it in. But luckily, the bank is open at midnight on a Tuesday. But also an and one from Henri. I just love what I see from Henri every single game. This guy just gets better and better each season, every game this season, and has really just been just massive for this team. With Krivas going down, Henri. It's hard to like wax poetic as long as I am about this guy, but like it's just the truth, right? Like I didn't expect anything out of him going into this season, like nothing. He
No, that's
redshirted
fair.
last year. Like I was like, I don't know. You know, he might give us, 8 minutes a game, 7 minutes. I don't know.
Mhm.
And
But
he
now
just
look at him. Look
he
at
just
our
goes
sweet,
out there
look at our
and
sweet caterpillar turning into a butterfly, Damon.
yeah, 100%. And he dunks on people and he rips
Oh
rebounds
yeah.
from him. Kevin,
Oh
have
yeah.
you see that?
Oh
He's
yes.
grabbing the board and
How could
he's
you miss it,
putting
Damon?
some
How could you miss
sass
that?
on it. I mean, it's just unbelievable what I've seen from Henri. And yeah, he's got to be player of the game, right?
Yes, 1000%. Henri Veesaar is the player of the game tonight, Damon. There is no other player. Like a lot of games this season, there's no other player you walk away from this game thinking that you are more impressed with than a Henri Veesaar, right? And he's kind of to an extent been the story of the year for Arizona. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah.
But I think if you're looking at just who has been the most impactful player this year for Arizona, Henri Veesaar is definitely
That was unexpected, right?
maybe leading in the clubhouse for that. Yeah, very unexpected. And Glass Pergola here in the chatter says Tommy was playing him out of position before the Krivas injury.
Playing him as more of like a big giant 4.
There's some credence to that because the Krivas injury, as unfortunate as it was, did open up minutes for other players, right?
Yeah, it absolutely did. It just let these players know what their role was night in and night out, where they're not really fighting for that role as much anymore.
Yes. And I think the biggest thing with Henri Veesaar for me, Damon, is exactly what you said, that tenacity. Because Arizona doesn't have a lot of that. Unless things are going really well, Arizona does not have a lot of tenacity with it. There's not a lot of guys on Arizona just trying to rip rebounds from people. Trey Townsend. I think that Henri Veesaar is just like the embodiment of what Arizona needed this year in a big, right? Like, I love Henri Veesaar, man. Like, I could wax poetic forever about Henri Veesaar.
It's just been fun to watch, man. It's been extremely fun to watch this season. Want to hit a couple of these chats real quick. AZ Catch G, $2. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your super chat. Really nice guy, by the way, Kevin. You'll have to meet him.
Love to.
Do you guys think ESPN turned down the AZ crowd?
This one's for you, Damon.
Listen, we talked about it, AZ Catch G. They turn it down all the time because, no doubt, I bet you tonight that what was it? Was that Mizzou game at Mizzou tonight, Kevin?
No, it was on the road
in Florida.
On the road in the Gator House.
How much you want to bet that, if you were listening to the audio in Gainesville, it was like the most electric basketball environment you've ever heard, and then it's like in Gainesville? Like, are you serious? I mean, I'm sure that, I'm not doubting that they have loud fans. Like, their football games are unbelievable, but there's no way that it's louder than a McHale crowd. But I will say tonight, AZ Catch G, it was a super late game, and we have a very old fan base that goes to the games at times. So I do think that there's a potential that it was maybe not as loud as typical McHale tonight.
Yes. I also want to address Chatter W in the chat that said, "Did y'all not watch Awaka?" And I do want to amend my statement by saying that Awaka is tenacious. Like, Awaka does try to do some tenacious stuff. But I think the difference is the success rates.
He's not as athletic as Henri is.
He's not, which, I mean, it helps that Henry's a lot taller than he is, I think, with the verticality of things. Because I don't think they're like that different athletically, to be very honest with you.
Yeah, but sure. But when one guy
I think their physical builds really make a difference in what they can do out there in like the short space of under the basket. You know what I mean?
When one guy's 4 inches taller than the other guy and they move similarly.
And we're talking about tip rebounds and putbacks, and that's not half the battle, but it's a lot of the battle.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Awaka is tenacious. He is a dog here, but I think that the skill of Veesaar combined with the tenacity just really gets my gears going. I don't know about you, but it really just turns all my gears in my head.
Yeah, I think
I get all the endorphins going.
Henri, barring the game prior, Henri has been better than Awaka recently, but that's not to say that Awaka doesn't have a role on this team. He's been doing his job and collecting boards and whatnot, and I think that the 1-2 punch of those two is been extremely effective. I love this WMB 1977 guy in the chat. You're a grown man, brother. Grow up a little bit. But also it's funny to say these ASU guys take Khalil Tate's name out of their mouth. I've spoken to Khalil Tate before. Like, I've met him. I worked for the football team for 3 seasons. What have you done, brother? We'll leave it at that. We will bring on Erica L. Day, our friend who is in Tucson, boots on the ground, was in the post-game press availability with our friend Tommy Lloyd, friend of the program, Tommy Lloyd. I'm going to start calling him that, Kevin. And players as well. So let's go talk to Erica and see what she has to say, huh?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Should we go? Should we hit a quick break first, though, Damon?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about some
break.
fine partners of this program.
Let's get Erica in here after this quick break, y'all. We'll be right back.
Sorry, Erica.
Psych, we are actually right here, and we're here to talk about our friends over at Sanderson Ford. Now, Sanderson Ford is probably the best dealership, not just in the Valley, but probably in the entire west of the Mississippi, dare I say the nation, Damon.
Yep.
PHNX is proud to have Sanderson Ford as our official vehicle partner. Drive into the new year with a new Sanderson Ford. Now, if you want like just something sleek for the new year, something to really reimagine your persona, right? What better than a new whip, right? Like, what better than a new car? You want to feel different about yourself? Get something nice, get something different. Go to Sanderson Ford, Damon. Take the whole family in style and save 11 grand on a new Expedition. Is 11 grand a lot of money?
Yes.
Yeah, 11 grand's a lot of money. You're going to save 11 grand on a new Expedition. Hit the trails or make your own in the Bronco Badlands.
I almost forgot. I'm wearing my Sanderson Ford shirt right now.
Oh, look at that.
I got my Sanderson Ford shirt on.
Yeah, we love that. We love the support, Sanderson Ford. Sanderson has 28 to choose from with a wide variety of discounts and $10,000 off. Purchase a new Edge for only $35,995. They also took in hundreds of quality trade-ins during the year-end sale and have 25 pre-owned vehicles with a warranty of under 25 grand. For the best deals in 2025, choose Sanderson for no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense experience, and get more for your trade with easy on-the-spot financing. Drive into the new year in a new Ford from Arizona's most awarded Ford dealership, Damon, and that's Sanderson Ford. We love our friends over at Sanderson Ford.
Yeah, it's the most awarded Ford dealership in the Valley for a reason, and we're going to talk about the most awarded casino in the Valley for a reason as well. That's Gila River Resorts and Casinos. And guess what, Kevin? Rev up your engine, brother, because they have a $350,000 Lamborghini Lux giveaway.
The lamb chop! The lamb chop!
Here's how to win. Every Friday in January and February, you'll have a chance to win cash, free bonus play, or qualify for the grand finale drawing. Every Friday at 7 p.m. for exciting drawings. You're going to want to join them. The grand finale is on Saturday, March 1st at Wild Horse Pass, which is my favorite of the Gila River Resorts and Casinos locations. And one lucky winner is going to get to drive away in a brand new, spanking new Lamborghini. Does that pique your interest? Piques mine. Don't miss that opportunity. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details and check out the link in the description below. Also, I want to answer this question real quick from WMB. 3 best U of A point guards. I'll probably start off with Damon Stoudemire, the guy that I'm named after from my parents.
Wow.
Yeah, I think.
Do you have to keep going?
Maybe a little bit of bias, but I think I'm going to start off with that. You know, Phoenix boy, born and raised in Tucson my whole life, named after a U of A point guard. I'll probably go him first. Then I'll go Mike Bibby, Jason Gardner, 2-3 right underneath them.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's a solid list. I mean, I feel like you being named after Damon Stoudemire not only is something I did not know.
I'm an ASU guy. Didn't you know?
That was just a sick joke played by your parents, actually. Sick joke. They knew out of the womb that Damon was going to end up an ASU guy, and so they were like, no, let's name him after one of the greatest Arizona players of all time.
Yep.
But Damon...
She's been waiting long enough.
Yeah, speaking of one of the greatest Wildcats of all time, here is Erica L. Day. Erica, how we vibing? How we feeling in McHale tonight?
You know, I'm actually going to start off by yelling at both of you because I know this was a 9 p.m. game, but did you not see my tweet that this is the most bumping McHale has been all season long?
No, I did. Clearly, we didn't.
I didn't.
We did not.
I think. I think I have your account muted on accident, Erica.
Damon.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, and this is why you guys are called the Phoenix Boys. I'm done defending you. Okay.
How quickly they switch up.
Yeah,
how quickly they forget that I'm behind the Mac. Too,
it really be their own. Or your own, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it do be your own, Damon. You're so right. It do be. But I just had to, I mean, even Tommy gave the 9 p.m. crowd a shout out. You're right. A lot of our fans are white-haired folks, okay? I'm impressed that we had as many people show up and show out. Kevin, said it earlier today. This is first game this calendar year back with the students. The students as usual, were loud as hell and just brought the energy all night long from literally start to finish. And it was electric in here,
And
especially during the first half. I know that it probably did die down a little bit in the second half, but I mean, Baylor went on a huge run. I mean, why would it not die down a little
Yeah.
bit? So the first half was like literally this crowd did not sit for longer than 30 seconds at a time. I'm telling you, this place was jumping.
what did I say on our last show, Damon, before the Baylor game? I said, I don't want to see Mikhail sit down for like a while in this one. Also, Erica, you were in the building. Our guy, Alec Chatter, wants to know the half-court shot from the fan was nuts. What was that like in the building? The half-court shot hit by the fan at halftime. What did they win? Do you know what they won? Did they win anything? Was it just for the love of the
$10,000.
game?
$10,000 they won. But I do
Damn.
want to give our guy, Ben Bleakin, a shout out. If you guys are familiar with Ben, he's the one who did the same contest in one short game ago. And first of all, they made poor Ben get his own rebounds. And then they got this dude out here tonight. They got a rebound specialist out there passing him dimes. And then this dude's dropping him just absolute buckets. And I'm like, obviously he's going to hit the freaking half court shot. He's got a freaking rebound specialist passing him dimes. Like, what the heck? And you left Ben out there to die. You didn't even give him an extra 5 seconds to get his own rebound and shoot the half court shot. I'm very passionate about how Ben got hosed. So I'm very sorry about that.
I had no idea the can of worms I opened, Damon.
I mean,
know.
no. I mean, I think we could do this all day long with Erica with like the most niche topics. But that being said, like, why do you think they had Emmanuel Stevens as his rebounder out there for him tonight?
Dude, don't even bring that name up to me because I was texting you guys. I'm a little bit triggered about this whole Emmanuel situation. Like, what the frick are we doing? So you mean to tell me we had press conference after press conference after press conference talking about, oh, he might be redshirting. Kevin remembers this. Okay, I know Kevin remembers watching these press conferences because we had to clip them over and over and over again. Oh, he might be redshirting. And then one day he rips the red shirt away, and rightfully so. I understand under the circumstances that this team is playing under, I understand why he would rip the red shirt. But then why the frick is this man playing 90 seconds max a game? What are we doing? What is the point of ripping his red shirt away? I guess, like, I just don't see the vision. And it's going to be something that Tommy is going to address later. It was just, as we all know, this game got a little closer than we all had anticipated when they were up by 22 points. So that question kind of got lost in the sauce. But even seeing Emmanuel in the first half, like, kind of triggered me, like, what the heck are we doing out here? Like, listen, I'm more excited than all of the rest of you. I put this on my bingo card after all. But are we serious? What is Emmanuel doing out here? Like, why? What? Like, I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they burned his red shirt. Obviously, you know, extenuating circumstances with Krivas, but definitely sad nonetheless when you know he's not really going to make an impact presumably much of the rest of the season.
Well, and not to, before you go, Erica, Damon and I were talking during this game about the lack of depth at the big position for Arizona now that Krivas goes down. So maybe that's kind of why you keep him on the like without the red shirt for the season, so you can kind of, if something were to go wrong, you have him there and he's not just been like told he's going to sit all year. Maybe that's, I don't know.
I wish we could get a few more minutes from him in games like tonight that are winnable, so that in games that maybe aren't so winnable, if, you know, God forbid Henry's in foul trouble and Tobe's in foul trouble at the same time. I mean, pretty much at all times, one of them is on the court. So, I mean, if both of them are, for whatever reason, you know, not able to be in the game, I would prefer for our backup, Mr. Emmanuel Stevens, to be able to come in and confidently play some minutes for them. But I just don't, like I said, I don't see the vision. But let's get on to some good things, because like Damon said, you could get me fired up about quite literally anything, especially after an Arizona win. So I do need to say one last thing about the crowd. And Drew Scott had one of the funniest comments I've ever heard in a press conference post-game. And, you know, someone asked him if this atmosphere measured up to the Big 12. Great question, because frankly, like it is a big question that a lot of, you know, the new coming fans have. Drew Scott said that we measure up.
Drew, right? You mean Scott Drew, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm on a lot of caffeine.
I just had to get ahead of it before you did this whole segment saying Drew Scott.
And then I text you later today, and I'm like,
I know you know his name, so I'm not trying to like do that to you.
I wrote it on my iPad notes.
I for some reason like was not smart enough to make that connection, and I looked up right now who Drew Scott was because I thought it was like a media personality that I was unaware of.
No,
'Cause I'm
just
a
Erica
dummy.
being an actual dummy. No, 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 no. But Scott Drew did say, Mikhail measured up and then he threw some shots at some Texas schools for having to build smaller gymnasiums so that they
Ooh.
could fill them. And I'll be honest, there's nothing that gets me fired up more than throwing shots at Texas schools. Oh, what a great Tuesday evening I'm having. Holy crap. All right, but on to the clips I have. You guys asked for it. You wanted to hear about it. Freaking Henry, what did you call him in our text messages? Damon, the freaking GOAT. And Tommy had a lot to say about Henry's development. So I'm going to let Kevin play the clip for us. And here we go.
He's just played unbelievably. Yeah, I mean, Henry's playing great. And, I've been telling him, hey, Henry, you're turning into a real player. So what you can't do now is relax. You got to keep going for it. You're on the scouting report now, and you're not a surprise. So you got to keep coming, and he just gives us real advantages out there. Henry's an interesting player. I mean, he can make a three, he can pass, and he's a big target. On some of your passes, whether it's in the zone, trying to get in the middle of the zone, or hitting him on a lob, or a tip dunk on a rebound. He's a big target. So Henry's what college basketball is all about. Everyone wants things to happen so fast, and here's a kid in his third year. And his first year, I thought he was going to be part of the rotation. I mean, he was a high-level recruit, and he struggled. So we got to the point where we didn't play him much, because it just wasn't right for that team. Last year, he had made progress. He has an unfortunate injury in the preseason, and continues to work and changes his body and matures. And now, an injury happens on our team. So he gets a little bit more of an opportunity. And so that's what building a program and developing players is all about. So I'm really proud of Henry, and I mean, till the day I'm done, I'm always going to be about helping players get better. And so I'm really proud of the way Henry's progressing. But I'm sure I'll see a few things on film that I want him to do a little bit better next week.
He said something.
Oh, I accidentally.
There she is.
There we go.
You love that from Tommy Lloyd. Kevin, you mentioned it to me right now. Like we were talking about that last week with Henri Veesaar. You don't see that this often in modern college basketball. A guy like Henri Veesaar who redshirts as a sophomore last year, like he's typically in the transfer portal, going to a school that he knows he's going to get starting playing time at next season, whether that be a lower level or just, a smaller program. And he stuck around and it's benefited him, right? And you don't see that very often in modern college basketball. And Tommy reiterates that point that Henry is what college basketball is all about.
Beautiful.
And, I mean, it's poetic.
You can't write a better story than Henri Veesaar this year. It's beautiful.
I think I didn't include this in the clip, but Tommy also said that his belief in Henry never wavered. And I think that feeds a lot into what you guys just said. Like, this guy could have played a lot more minutes somewhere else, period. And this coaching staff truly believes that Henri Veesaar is a conference player of the year caliber player. And the buy-in there has meant more to Henry, I think, than anything else about like being a part of the Arizona program.
Yeah, I think a guy like Tommy Lloyd is a unique coach in the way that he's going to be able to inspire certain players to stick around. And I think most coaches would probably be like, you know what, young man, we'll see ya. It was good having you in the program. Go get your bag where you can get it somewhere else. See if, you can, up your minutes. And Tommy's like, no, I want you right here sticking it out with me. No one develops, foreign big men in particular better than Tommy Lloyd. That is a proven fact. And it's like, you're going to want to be a part of this program long term. And you see the buy-in, and it's hard to not be excited about that.
And plus, to add on to your point, Damon, what Tommy Lloyd also said in that clip was, this is what player development is all about.
Yep.
Right. There was a lot of, Tommy Lloyd saying, this is what this is all about in that
and
clip.
He was right about every damn one of them.
He was on the money with all of them. But this is what player development is all about, right? In the NIL era, before that, the one and done era, to an extent, it was hard to develop players, not all the time. It's way harder now than it was then. But, when you have players that are interested in just your school for just a short amount of time, it's rare that you find a guy that can impact the level of basketball that Henri Veesaar can, and also is willing to be patient with you and trust your process, trust your plan, trust that hey, I chose you as my coach for a reason, right? I chose you because I thought you were going to make me a better man and a better basketball player over the however many months and years I play for your program. So yeah, it's really refreshing to see Henri Veesaar have this kind of season, right? It's deserved.
Absolutely.
Earned, some might say.
Earned, not given. That's a
Yes.
fact.
Yes.
Erica, did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about from Tommy post game? Anything on Caleb Love, maybe?
I have got you, Damon. I've come prepared today. Listen, I think the number one concern amongst Arizona fans for the last 2 years, if you ask me, overall is just the Caleb Love experience. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's an experience, it's up and down. And Tommy's talked a lot about like Caleb's downs, and he's been asked a lot. And how many times can you get asked the same question? Because again, we've seen the same ebbs and flows from this kid over and over again.
Yeah.
But Tommy did talk about the team's ability to win without Caleb, and I think that that's super important.
Ooh.
So let's hear from Tommy now.
Rest of the guys,
Well,
or the way the team's coming together, that you're able to overcome that?
I think it says a lot. I mean, I think we have good players. I think that, we're always going to be team first. Caleb's a team guy as well. And, and I feel good that, when he's not playing well, we're okay. I mean, that's, for me, there's some reassurance that, okay, we got this. Because it's a lot of pressure on a guy to play good every single day. So, I know this, that, he's going to have great games. He's going to have great stretches. And tonight just wasn't his best night. He had some good looks early, obviously, a couple of those threes early. He makes a couple of those. Maybe it's a different story. But, yeah, all in all, we're a team. And we always talk about team. We talk about us, all the time. And so, I don't really get caught up in one player, but I know this. Caleb was a great dude. He's really talented. He's had an incredible college basketball career and a lot of success, and a lot of success this year. So, there's who's to say he doesn't go out next Saturday on the road and play his best game of the season.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Henry and Jaden will be
Interesting there from Tommy Lloyd. He obviously was much more angry, I would say, regarding Caleb in the last game, right, against UCF. He said stuff to the effect of, Caleb's an All-American. Caleb's in his 5th year. Caleb can't be playing like the way that he played in that second half tonight. Singing a different tune tonight. Obviously not as upset with Caleb Love, despite, a poor performance out of Love tonight. And Tommy's going to back his guy. Caleb, Kevin and I were talking about it earlier, Erica. Like, Caleb is definitely a good dude. It's not your typical, like, volume shooter in college basketball who just keeps coming back to, get a paycheck and get as many shots up as possible. Like, Caleb wants to win 100%. His teammates like him. Tommy likes him a lot. Like, it's just been a struggle recently. And you just got to find a way to figure it out.
Well, and you just said it, but a lot of people have told me or asked me, why Caleb came back for this year. And everyone thinks it's because of money, but I think it's exactly for the reason you just said. Caleb wants to win at the highest level possible, and Caleb foresees that this program is the way that he can do that. He foresees that this team is a winning team, and he wants to be a part of that. I don't think that money played as big of a role as everyone thinks it did with the Caleb Love returning situation.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of, obviously, he didn't get the looks from the NBA that he wanted, but I think he wants to just hoop, right? Like, he wants to play basketball. And yeah, he'd be dumb to not take the money that's offered his way in the NIL deals. He's one of the biggest NIL athletes in all of the country, but I do think that he cares about winning. It's just been a really, really rough go of it recently.
Yeah, and Damon, honestly, I was looking at Milo's chat here, and I thought the same thing when I was listening to that clip of yes, Caleb Love's had a couple down games, and it's that meme that every team has when you're watching your team. It's a cycle of like, all right, this player looks like Michael Jordan. Oh wait, they forgot how to play basketball. Oh, are they good again?
Yeah.
And then we're in like the in between of like, all right, Caleb Love has looked really bad, but he's about to probably look like prime like Dwayne Wade in like probably against Texas Tech, and then he's probably going to go back to looking like Deion Waiters in the next game after that.
Kevin, here's what I want that meme to turn into. That version of that exact meme, but it's like Jimmy Butler on the calendar, and it's like
yeah,
Jimmy
actually,
Butler in like
yes.
October through March, and it's like
It's just Nick Batum.
it's like like why the hell are we paying Nick Batum $55 million, and then it's like Jimmy Butler in April. Wow, this guy's a top 10 player in the league, and then it's Jimmy Butler in June, and you're like in May and June, and you're like, oh my God, it's Michael Jordan reincarnate on the basketball court.
To your point, though, Damon,
I want that with Caleb Love, and I want to put that in the March and April part of the calendar, and I want to say the reincarnate of, Jason Terry or some Arizona legend just like late in the season. That's all I want.
I was gonna say, Damon, like I think that what that reminded me of is that you don't pay Caleb. We talked about his NIL. We talked about whatever you want to talk about as to why he's coming back. You don't bring him back, period, for games against TCU and with respect to Texas Tech and Lubbock. You don't bring them back for TCU or Texas Tech or Kansas State. You bring him back for the Kansas. You bring him back for the Iowa State. You bring him back for the Baylor games to an extent because we just played Baylor and they looked pretty bad. But you don't bring Caleb back for these middle of the conference teams. You bring him back for the big moments.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, I hope that Caleb Love, when the lights shine the brightest, does what Caleb Love has been doing for the past 5 years of our lives and providing us with some of the most memorable shots. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Erica, was there anything else? Anything Tommy said about playing Texas Tech or the upcoming game on Saturday? Or
He's looking forward to the road trip. He has completely forgotten, put the old road trip, the last road trip in the blinders, doesn't think about it. And I think that that's really good for this team. They were playing in injured West Virginia. Like, you have to show respect to these new opponents. Like you said, Lubbock, who maybe you don't want to, but, we got to do what we got to do in the Big 12, So I hope that we continue to see a whole team show up. I think that's key here. I don't want Caleb Love going off for 30 points a game if that means that Jaden Bradley and KJ Lewis get completely lost in the sauce, personally. So I just hope that we continue getting more closer to that 40-minute whole team full effect. I think we're like right on the brink of greatness here in Tucson, and I just need a little more from the squad.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Did you just call the Big 12 a truck stop conference? Is that what you just did right now?
Beep, beep.
That's Erica L. Day, everybody. Make sure you guys follow Erica at Erica Lee Day. That's L-E-A. There's no H in there. God help you if you put an H in there. I made that mistake.
Who knows
once,
what
and
account that will pull up?
It was the worst. It was the worst mistake I've ever made. Erica L-E-A Day. On Twitter. Make sure you guys give her a follow. She's going to be the best source for all your women's basketball information. She's always at McHale, always down on campus in Tucson, but definitely like the world's foremost expert on our women's basketball team. So if you're locked in on that and you're not following Erica, what in the hell are you doing? But yeah, thank you so much, Erica. We really appreciate you coming on tonight.
See you next time for the doubleheader in McHale. Ooh.
Yeah, get some sleep.
Bye.
All right, Kevin.
What up, Damon?
Got to get out of here pretty soon here. Real quick though, and by the way, I peeped the time.
Oh yeah. Woo. Hey, I want to give a shout out real quick to obviously everyone in the chat. We appreciate all of you for tapping in with us on this late night edition.
Family.
You guys are the real diehard Arizona football and basketball lovers because you're in this chat with us right now talking Arizona sports, and that's why we appreciate and love every single one of you.
At 1 a.m. on a Wednesday.
Whew, man, because some people, like Zona Tucson 93, they have work in 4 hours.
That's crazy.
Me and Damon will be right back with you tomorrow at noon. Rain, sleet, or shine, but we might have some bags under our eyes. But you know what? I might have 2 bags tomorrow, but Arizona has 5, 6 conference dubs now, Damon?
Yeah, I believe 5.
Sorry, I'm losing count because Arizona just keeps racking them up. It's getting hard to count, and eventually when it's 20-0, it's going to be even harder to count because you can't even do that on one hand. You have the 4 hands. You need 4 hands for that.
Yeah.
So when my 17-3 prediction looks conservative, I am going to be able to count all of my chips, Damon.
Feeling pretty good right now, Kevin. Arizona doesn't move up in Ken Palm. We'll discuss that more tomorrow, staying at that 15 spot. But gearing up to play Texas Tech on Saturday. Tough place to play. ESPN matchup predictor has that as 52% in favor of Texas Tech, 48% Arizona.
That's literally, not literally, but that's 50-50, Damon.
That's a toss-up. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's literally 52-48.
Yeah, it's literally
but
not 50-50, but it's figuratively 50-50.
one real quick thing I needed to mention before we got out of here, Jay Williams with a comparison to of
this is
VJ
hilarious.
Edgecombe to LeBron tonight. And Kevin and I were both like, hey, man, that's our thing. It's our thing to compare college basketball players to LeBron James. You're not allowed to do that because if you remember correctly, I compared KJ Lewis to LeBron and you compared who to LeBron? Who was it?
I think it was Jaden Bradley.
Yeah, there we go. Kevin and I, not cool when you compare people to LeBron. That's our thing. Only we're allowed to do that. But
yeah.
VJ Edgecombe, we didn't talk about him a lot. 0 points the first half, 9 points in the second half, I believe. Looked good in the second half. Extremely athletic.
I mean, his talent jumps off the screen.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
It really does.
I'm intrigued.
Like, his talent really jumps off the screen.
I can't lie. I think that this next Baylor game that when we play them is going to be a big time rubber match there. I mean, not a rubber match because you'd have to go 1-1, but it's going to be a big time, kind of revenge game for them. No chance Norchad Omier is in foul trouble in Waco, in my opinion. That's not going to happen. And VJ Edgecombe will not score 0 in the next first half. So I expect a dogfight next time around.
And I'm not sure, and I should have looked this up before we went live, but I'm not sure on the injury or the absences to Langston Love and Baylor's one other front court player they are missing. So if those two players are back, then Baylor's a deeper team as well when Arizona faces them next month, Damon. So keep updated. Keep tapped in with us, and we'll have all your updates. But yeah, Damon, I'm just excited, man. The Big 12 is here. Arizona's undefeated in the Big 12. It really feels like Arizona is priming itself to make a statement in its first year in the Big 12. And that feels incredible, Damon. That feels I don't know about you, but I feel extra strong. I feel like an armor on my back now that Arizona is tops in the Big 12. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
No one can tell me nothing.
No, I mean, after the start to this season, if you told me, 5 games into the conference season that we would be in first place, I would have told you you're crazy. You absolutely love to see it, and I hope this team can continue this run of form here because, as we mentioned, Kevin, not exactly the gauntlet of the Big 12 yet. This was going to be kind of like that first, I think taste of what a truly elite team in the Big 12 looks like. Even though maybe Baylor played like a really, really about as bad of a game as they possibly could have.
Yeah.
In
part due to Arizona, but yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, I'm excited. Big 12 basketball, man. Every game matters. This conference is crazy, and we're going to be here for it the entire step of the way. That is my guy, Kevin Thomas. That's KEVOPOSTS. Kevo Posts.
That's me. That's
on
what
Twitter.
I do. I post.
Give him a follow. Doing really cool stuff with like the game day threads, Kevin. I really like that. If you're not following Kevin, he's doing these game day threads where he's giving you basically a good how many 10 to 15 tweet rundown.
It kind of just depends on how many interesting tidbits I see. I pretty much try to collect all the facts you would need to know about the matchup coming in and just compile it into a thread. So if you've been busy in the week and you just crap, I almost cursed. Oh crap. Arizona plays tonight and I haven't prepped. Let me just go look at Kevin's thread and just get some quick information so I could be more educated watching the game. It's not everything you need to know, but it's pretty darn close, Damon.
It's very good stuff there from my guy Kevin. He puts a lot of work into it. So give him a follow. Follow me at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. If you want crazy takes out of a lunatic, that's the place.
If you want to see a guy go to war on social media for his
you don't want that. Don't go in my replies. That's a bad nasty place. Yeah, that's not a good place you want to be. But I do have some funny tweets every now and again.
Yeah.
Follow our show account PHNX_Wildcats. That's going to be our main hub for everything. We got a little bit of football we're going to talk tomorrow, Kevin, with a returning transfer. Interesting story there. Erica says, "Oh my God, it's freezing outside. Just leave the studio. Outside's not worth it." Kevin, I'm not excited to go down into this lobby of this building.
If I'm to pull back the curtain again the other way this time, it's when we go down to the lobby here at PHNX headquarters.
Heat.
It's no heat. I feel awful for the security guard because whoever it is each night is just freezing down.
It's gonna be about 20 degrees down there tonight.
Yeah, it's legit. I might freeze. I might just walk out the elevator and just freeze solid and just slide to the front door.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. That's where we're at right now. And we'll be back for you right here tomorrow at noon.
Here.
So be there, be square, and we'll catch you next time on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
Get
Dub
some
edition.
rest. Get some rest, y'all. Get some rest. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.